Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of the Visuals by Leo Studio podcast. With this project, I really want to step out of my comfort zone. I want to meet new creatives. I want to really open as many doors as possible for creative projects, for collaborations, for ideas. And the gentleman right beside me is somebody I've recently met who definitely fits that category. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergio.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Putting that episode 1 on top of the title is like, oh boy, I hope I do well, man.
You're going to kill it, bro.
I appreciate you having me here, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you. We met, if you can't tell by his hat already, we met through Jojo Alvarez. Jojo does a really good job at connecting people together. And this gentleman here is somebody I met very recently. We immediately vibed off each other. We're local to Orange. He also does... Actually, I don't want to say what you do. What do you do, brother?
Mainly wedding photo and video. So all across the board, just videography, photography. I do those other things as well. So, your simple portraits, headshots, corporate events, and all that stuff. I do them as well. But I jumped in with a mentor that mainly shoots for like weddings. And that's pretty much my main thing is shooting the weddings. Yeah.
Amazing. And I've seen his work, really phenomenal stuff, very creative, and having a lot of experience in the wedding industry myself, I noticed one thing that stands out immediately in your work. It's that you can sense the interaction between you and the couple in the films. A lot of photographers and videographers prefer a passive approach. I'm not like that, so I always like to learn from people that are definitely into kind of interacting. Not intruding, but emphasizing emotions that need to be seen, need to be felt, need to be heard. I was just filming with my mentor Justin Porter last weekend.
Very cool.
And he's like the king of getting the emotion. And I was on the headset, and we just filmed the first look. And the first look, the groom spoke for like 8 minutes, and it was beautiful. Everything he said was amazing. And then Justin was like, "Don't let him go before you ask him, how do you feel right now?" So after the first look was over, I took him aside. I was like, "How do you feel right now?" And he dropped like some beautiful gems of things that would be included in the wedding film, and just things that I would have never thought to ask for. So anytime I meet a wedding photographer, videographer that is aware of that part of documentation, where you have to ask. You never know. Sometimes these are not professional actors. They're not storytellers. They don't know what they need to show and what they don't need to show. So I need to second shoot with you very soon to...
Yeah, I'm excited to, for you to be there. But again, the bar is already high with Justin being your mentor. So I like my work to kind of like speak for itself kind of deal. Like if people did follow me and saw how I shot, I'm very critical with myself, as we pretty much all are. But I'm always like afraid of the judgment of like, oh man, he doesn't shoot with anything crazy, or he doesn't have a red, or he doesn't have a Sony G Master lens. And I come from, the space of like the best gear you have is just the one that you have, the best camera you have is the one that you have immediately available. And sometimes that's just our phones. So we have a very powerful, machines around us all the time. We just got to know how to utilize them, And so when I shoot the weddings, man, I have a lot of fun when I do weddings, man. Like I thoroughly enjoy it. And like I was telling you earlier, like I'm someone that if I can feel the energy that you'd like to build a relationship, like more than just the clientele kind of thing, I'm all for it. And we already have like 3 groomsmen or grooms that turned into photographers for our team. And it's because they were just interested. They liked our energy. Oh, can we learn a little bit? Yeah. And we bring them in, and then we're friends now.
I've never heard that before. That's bananas.
Yeah, man. And it's because, again, like we just love what we do. And when you do that, everything else is like all that part, the shooting, all that stuff becomes like riding a bike. After that, it's just about being who you are. And sometimes the couples just really vibe with us, and we become friends. I mean, I've hosted a couple couples that were our clients at our home, dude. And they just hang out. The photographer that I hired when I proposed to my fiance, we're the only couple, she tells us, that have kept in touch. We did wine dates. She lives in Paris, by the way. We did wine dates during COVID, and when they came to America for the first time, we hosted them for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's goals when it comes to building that connection, because you want to hope that if your job is to document emotions, and you're around them the whole day, you want to hope that you have a good connection and good chemistry with them, because you don't want to be hindering how they feel. You want to make them so comfortable that they're radiating their true emotions and their feelings and their energy, and they don't feel like they need to hide things from you. So
yeah, what helps a lot is, for photography side, the engagement shoot. The engagement shoot is before the wedding, so you kind of feel it out, and that like really starts off like how the energy is going to be the day of the wedding. And when you coach them up, and the first time you show them how they look behind that camera, man, their confidence just goes straight up. And then from there, they don't think you're crazy while you're telling them, stand here or stand there, or I'm going to go behind this bush. I know it's weird. Trust me.
yes,
Doesn't work sometimes until you do it and you show them. They're like, oh, this is nuts. Okay, cool. Keep going, like whatever. And then we do our thing. For video, you don't really do like a pre-production thing beforehand, but the Zoom calls. Those Zoom calls that you initially meet them and you start talking and stuff, you start to get to know that they also love the same things you do. And then next thing you know, you're just buddies. You're like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I always get that feeling from the couple when I'm trying to get foreground, when it's like an open space and I want to shoot behind something to make it a little more cinematic. They're always like, why are you covering the camera with that little tree leaf or the branch or the little strand? And when you get the opportunity to show it to them, they start to understand, like, okay, that's how they make it look so fancy when it's just a normal shot.
Right.
But hell yeah, I love that, bro. I wanted to open up. Actually, I want to open the notes you sent today, because that was some good stuff.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So Sergio is prepared today. He sent some really good questions. Give me 1 second, guys.
I sent them because I watch a lot of podcasts too, and again, very critical of myself. I'm just constantly like afraid of what people think, and I know it's not a good thing. I probably need therapy for it, but it's just like, I'm constantly wanting to make sure that whoever is watching this is having a good time, or there's something good that somebody can get from this and they can run with it. So I'm just like, what are we going to talk about? And then so I wrote these notes down and just wanted to show you.
So this is the first question that Sergio had written down. The first time you realized this is what you wanted to do.
I love my story when it comes to that, man. So the way I started was I used to be a photo tech. Ironically, like it was a good job that I got, and basically I would get old photos that were printed out, because back in the days everyone just printed photos, and we would scan them through a machine and make them digital. I was doing celebrities photos. I was doing Kim Kardashian's, Michael Jackson. Like I was one of the top techs there that they trusted for me to do those things. I asked for a raise. Unfortunately, they said no. One of the guys didn't like me. They did layoffs. I was the last one to get laid off by the supervisor. He was in tears saying, I have no idea why you're in this list, and I'm very sorry, but I have to do this. And then later found out that he didn't like that they did that to him, so he left. But I got let go. I was doing stuff with my phone, again, just having fun. And then one of my good friends, Francisco, amazing photographer as well, he encouraged me to do the photography thing. So during Black Friday, back in the day again, just 2014, it was slowly transitioning to online. So I bought a Canon 3Ti at 3 a.m. in the morning on the computer. So I got my camera, and then I met my mentor at church. He hates the story, by the way, and I love saying it. So
I want to hear all of it, bro.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
so
I want to hear all of it.
I met my mentor. He knew who I was because I was working in the church, taking photos and stuff. But when you see him from outside, like he looks very intimidating to go up to and all that stuff. But everyone loves this guy, man. And you'll know why once you get to meet him. But he just looks intimidating. And I was just like, you know what? I have to go ask him if I can, like, shadow him or whatever the case may be. So during service, I go up to him like, hey, Omer, my name is Sergio. I've been doing photography or trying, and I love your work. I was hoping if I can shadow you. And he goes, as he's getting his gear, he goes, all right, Sergio, let's do it under one condition. I go, what? He goes, don't waste my fucking time. In church,
I
Leo.
love that.
during
love that.
service. Yeah. So
I'm going to intrude right there,
Go
bro.
ahead.
So sometimes I meet people that are still in the learning process of things that I've mastered, and I see them and they're in that state and they need help, and I want to give that help.
Mhm.
But I've dealt with amateurs and people that are learning so much that I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like I know that there are pitfalls here and there, and
Mhm.
there's excessive emotional excitement not backed by discipline and work,
Mhm.
and there's wanting to finish everything very quickly. It's rare to come by an actual student who has the work ethic and the humility to sit down and just learn and soak it all in and trust that you know what you're talking about, and trust that you know the process. And he is kind enough to want to give you that, but is aware of the typical pitfalls of teaching somebody something. So he showed you from the get go, like, I'm strict. I'm gonna tell you it like it is, and I'm in a dominant position. You are in a humble position, learning from me, and that's the best way for this dynamic to continue to grow.
Yeah.
So-
You hit it. Like there's more to that of like me getting to why he said that to me. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And again, that's the cool thing, right? Like he doesn't know that I do have that discipline and work ethic. He doesn't know that the next person that's gonna ask him for help has that, but he just so kind, gives everybody the shot, right? So that's cool. So he tells me that, and almost immediately he tells me to go do stuff. Like, go get this light, you're gonna set it up here, you're gonna set it up here, and we're gonna get this shot. So to the question. I started filming a baptism. It was the pastor's daughter. She was getting baptized. They didn't know that I was filming it. They probably thought that I was assisting Elmer because they hired him to do the photography stuff. So as he's shooting, I'm capturing the moment. I put it together. I deliver to them. I deliver it to them. The next service, she comes up to me, the mom. She comes up to me, gives me this big hug, and she goes, "We will forever cherish this moment. Thank you so much for that video." She walks away. I look at my mentor to my right, and I'm like, this is what I want to do, man. And ever since then, it's that joy that I feel when I deliver a product and they are emotional about it, they're crying about it, they're happy, they're screaming with joy, that it gives me that like fulfillment that I first got when I first did it. And 10 years in, and I'm still like
Hooked on that emotion.
I'm still hooked on it, man.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I love that journey, man. And see if he wasn't clear about what the dynamic's going to be like, and you weren't actually a good student and humble, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. You wouldn't be a successful wedding filmmaker. You wouldn't be. And I feel like the industry we're in, you grow so much because you meet so many people, and you see people at an emotional extreme, people in maximum anxiety, stress, the most amount of money they've ever spent in one day in their life. That we see people at their edges. You see the mother-in-law at her edge. And I feel like that is revealing of a lot of things that are inside all of us that come out, that might never come out in a normal day-to-day interaction. So I feel like as wedding filmmakers, photographers, we get to see that, and we get to adjust our behavior accordingly. And I think most importantly, I started to recognize a very important thing about dealing with people, which is I used to classify people as like nice and mean, right? Like some people are nice, some people are mean in a very primitive way.
Yeah.
Shooting weddings, a lot of times, so many people that were nice the day before are coming off as mean all of a sudden. And then I realized, well, because they're stressed out, because there's uncertainty, because the DJ's late, because the photographer's late, the videographer, whatever it may be, something's going on, and they're stressed out about it. And now that normal interaction, they want to ask you to move because they're trying to walk through. They're like, move, because they got to get through. But that's not who they are. They're not a mean person.
Right.
And then I was like, wait a second. Maybe the mean people outside of weddings are also in the same position. Maybe they have another type of stress they're experiencing. Maybe they're under some sort of anxiety.
Yeah.
And in that month, 2 months, years of their life, they come off as mean. There's a reason for it. So I became a lot more accepting of things that I used to be sensitive about.
Yeah.
And that's going back to like one of the blessings of becoming, following that path for you. You chose an amazing industry, brother. Like it's so cool.
Awesome.
It's a cool job.
Just to be able to provide, like I've always wanted to be somewhere where I can bring smiles to people's faces. And when I found that, I was like, oh my God, this does just that. Like you capture a photo and it brings emotion and they're excited and like, oh my God, it gives you that rush. I'm like, all right, let's keep creating more.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
He Miyagi'd me, my mentor. I always say he Miyagi'd me because you're talking about, yeah, man, that wax on, wax off without even knowing. Like because you mentioned how some people dive right deep and they're spending so much money and they don't even know what they're doing. With him, I can go an hour just talking about him.
What's his name?
Elmer Escobar.
What's his Instagram?
TNK Photo.
TNK.
He's incredible. Yeah.
We got to shout him out.
He's not used to me praising him anymore because we're friends now and we have that friend banter now. But I tell him all the time, listen, behind closed doors, I have nothing but good things. And I say it all the time about you, man.
Wow.
And
I'm so excited to meet him one day.
Yeah, you will, man. He's awesome. And so he Miyagi'd me in the sense that I had my 3Ti and had my, cheap lenses and everything. And I would tell him all the time, hey man, what camera should I get? Which one should I upgrade? And he kept telling me, you'll know when. And I'm like, I want it now. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you'll know when. And so I just kept practicing with my cameras, kept practicing with the lenses that I had. And one day I was doing this like photo and I wanted to do something creatively, but I couldn't do it because the capability of my camera didn't allow me to. And then that's when it hit me. And I'm like, wait, I think I'm ready for the upgrade. And then he was like, because your camera can't do the shot that you want, this camera can, and it's more advanced. Now you feel ready to upgrade to this camera, and you'll know that with this camera, you can get the shot that you want. And so he Miyagi'd me by saying, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of kids these days think, I need to buy the best of the best so that I can
make something nice.
Make something nice. And it's like, no, like if you don't know what you have and what you could do with it, how are you going to create something that you have in mind? Like you just don't know how to create it yet, or you don't know how to utilize your tool.
Yes.
That's why like if I get this compliment a lot when I do a cool photo. I guess mainly they'll go, wow, that's an amazing camera. And in my head, I'm like, here, take my camera and you do your thing. You know what I mean? See if you can get something crazy like this. But
that comment comes off so much. It comes off people's tongue so much.
Yeah. Oh my God, what an amazing camera. And I'm just like, I take it for fun. I don't get offended by it or anything like that. But it's just funny to me when people say that. And then they'll be like, no, you're amazing. No, you're amazing.
They'll correct themselves. They'll realize what they just said.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I feel so. There's this fun psychological effect that we experience called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Mm-hmm.
The Dunning-Kruger effect, you're aware of it?
Yeah.
So the less you know about a certain topic, the more confident you feel about it. So if you see somebody riding a skateboard doing like a kickflip for the first time, you're like, yeah, he just, he jumped on the skateboard and he just did this and that's what it is. And you're like, watch me do this, guys. You grab the skateboard and you don't even know how to roll on it. Mm-hmm. And you fall like 10 times and you don't even know how to jump. Like there's no way you're going to be doing that in at least like 6 months to a year. And then your confidence declines. First, you had a peak of confidence when you knew nothing about this thing. The moment you had a taste of experience, your confidence dips down. And it takes years and years of experience to bring that confidence back up. But even when you reach mastery of a certain topic or field, you'll never reach the level of confidence you had when you first started out, which is fascinating, right? Yeah. So with cameras, it's the same thing. Like I was not always fascinated by photography and videography my whole life. I have a very scientific background. I was in the world of science, right?
Oh, cool.
And when I would look at photographers or videographers that are being hailed and praised and they're part of a community and a lot of them have these crazy egos, I'm like, dude, why are you so caught up in your emotions? All you're doing is pressing a button. You bought a very expensive camera. You could afford it. Like, where's the big deal exactly? Why are you so proud of yourself? And it took a long time to weed that out of me, for me to understand, like, no, it's not that easy. And now I think I'm in that part where my confidence is dipped and I'm in the process of mastering something and slowly building more and more confidence. Yeah. And I'll never build up the confidence I had when I was looking at that one dude like, hey, who do you think you are?
Man, ego and the whole confidence thing, again, my mentor, man, when I would get a cool shot and I was excited to show him, he would beat it down and he would tell me, what was wrong with it and why I should do it this way or next time I should do it that way. And not only in photography, but he taught me a lot of life lessons, like a ton of life lessons that I still use to this day. But he taught me how to separate personal and business. So get
Which
your
is
separate
key.
separate your emotions. And then he told me, if I praise the photos that you show me all the time, you're gonna think you're that good. And I am showing you the mistakes that you're making so that next time you do it better.
So you stay hungry.
I stay hungry.
Yeah.
And I no longer look at my photos and say, wow, this is an amazing shot. I look at my photos and say, yes, this is good, but how can I make it better?
Yes.
What background can I use? What light can I use? What technique can I use that will make this photo a lot better for the next time that I'm in this position?
Absolutely.
And he beat down all my, and then it went from me being excited to show him to being afraid to show him.
Because now you know what you're going to get.
Because now I'm just like, what is he going to tell me now? I hope this is good. But let me tell you, man, when you get that photo that's awesome and you show it to your mentor and he says it's awesome, you're like, oh, now we're getting somewhere. Now I feel like I'm slowly getting to that level of like a professional. You know? Yeah. And so I always say I'm never gonna catch up to him, but I'm always gonna chase him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said, brother. I wanted to run to that next. Actually, maybe I'll share a little bit about how I got it. Let me actually repeat that question. So the question is. The first time you realized, how's the matcha, by the way?
I haven't tried it yet. I'm afraid of burning myself, so I'm gonna
find out.
Yeah.
The first time you realized that this is what you wanted to do. So for me, there's many aspects to the story, but I'll try to cut it to the meat and potatoes, which is I was in a very scientific background. I believe that by pursuing this scientific thing that I was pursuing, because it was so fancy and prestigious, that I'm going to be rich. And I thought 1 + 1 = 2. I do this, I become rich. And I didn't really put any priority on being passionate about loving something, about being so excited about something that I'm going to do it regardless of the money. I just thought that I'm just going to make money. So I went 8 to 10 years into this industry. And when things started to get good in terms of my progress, I'm so sorry about this, by the way. But in terms of my progress, I started to realize that I'm not happy like doing this. Like I'm achieving these things and everyone's clapping for me, but personally, deep inside, I'm not clapping for myself. Like it doesn't register to me. I'm not excited about this, right? And I started falling into bad, unhealthy habits, and the habits started to take over. And I was trying to think about these habits from a very systematic way. Like I'm not just going to believe that I'm a bad person and we weren't created perfect, so I'm just going to do these bad habits. There has to be a reason I'm doing this. And I learned that the reason I was doing it is because I wasn't fulfilled. Because when I was doing creative things, which was at the time advertising, what I used to do with like my iPhone and lighting up a little set in the area I worked in and just doing that stuff with like an iPhone, I wouldn't respond to like a text of like, hey, let's go out, let's do this, let's do that. I wouldn't respond to anything because I was so caught up in this world. And then one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just do this? And I never have to worry about bad habits. I never have to worry about being negative all the time or being like hopeless in life. I don't have to worry about that because every single day I'm doing something I'm excited about. And it's been growing ever since I decided, which was the scariest decision ever in my life. But ever since I decided to take this route in life, I never had to work. Like I never had to suffer, even though I go through painful days, even though sometimes I don't know where my next gig is going to come from. I don't know what the future of the industry is like with AI coming out. Like so many things are happening that would rock your boat if you were in something you didn't enjoy, but I'm not worried at all. And I'm just growing and developing and getting better and better. And now I'm building deeper relationships and friendships. Like I've only known you for like 2 weeks and we're like best friends now. And it's because we have a similar passion. I couldn't connect to people at that level because I was never invested this much in any industry.
Right.
So that would be the reason why I chose this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lesson to all you kids out there. When you do something for money And all these successful people will tell you the same thing, man. When the chase is money, it's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go, you know? And that's already like what you were explaining. Like 1 + 1 = 2. I'm gonna be rich and this and that. But it wasn't your passion. It wasn't something that you really enjoyed. And so.
And you wasted your life pursuing that.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is the scariest part because no one has the confidence of an 18-year-old.
Right.
The 18-year-old's like, I want to be a brain surgeon. I don't care if it takes 20 years to study that.
Yeah.
Which is natural. It's great that God created us that way, to have this enormous amount of confidence when we're young. So you're not like that when you're 30. You're not like that when you're 35. You have things to lose. You have less chips to bargain with. So 100% solid piece of advice. The next question Sergio wrote up here is your first time getting paid and how much?
Oh boy, man. I still remember like it was yesterday and I was excited, bro. Like I wish I wasn't so broke that I had to spend it. You know what I mean? I wish I kept that money.
I know people who kind of clip their first check. Like they put it in like some sort of a frame and they frame it. I could never do that. No? I'm gonna spend it. Like I don't know how people do that.
Exactly.
Some people have their first $100. I'm like, how did you be able to keep that anywhere? Like
I needed it, man. I needed it. Yeah. So yeah, it was cash, and it was a friend. I believe it was a friend from high school. She had a daughter or a son actually, and he was turning 1. So it was a 1-year-old birthday party. I still remember one specific shot because it was probably the coolest one out of the entire set. But she paid me $20. How long I was there, I don't remember. I don't remember how long I was there, but I remember the level of excitement that I had. I stared at that $20 bill. I was, she was then my girlfriend, my fiance, and I was like, I just got paid to take photos. That's nuts.
Doesn't that feel crazy?
Yeah.
It feels that you're doing this thing that you like used to do for fun.
Right.
And you thought it was just like a childish desire you had.
Mm-hmm.
And now someone's like, here's a couple $100. And you're like, wait, are you sure?
Couple $100, $20, man. It was amazing. And that's how you know that you're not in it for the money.
Yes.
You know, you got $20 and $20 is, I don't know, gas. I don't know, 2 in and out. You know what I mean? Like it's something simple, but I was so excited because the fact that I got it for taking photos.
That this is possible.
Yeah.
That I can make money. I can pay for lunch.
Yeah.
By doing something I enjoy, which is revolutionary.
Yeah, it is. And I've always said, man, if I could pay the bills with smiles, I'll do that. You know what I mean? It's probably the only little reason why I'll speak for myself, charge, because I need to survive. I need to pay bills. The bills don't stop. But I just love it so much. I love that. And it goes back to that first story is I just love being able to put joy in people's faces because of what I created for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well said, bro. Mine would be, I was doing filmmaking very, very heavily before I even thought about charging because I was still working in that previous industry. I never thought. I thought this is. I didn't know people made money as filmmakers. I thought like if you become a photographer and videographer, get ready to like get hungry. You're gonna be one of those people that pursue this thing, like trying to be an actor. Or it's one of those music things where you just pursue it forever and you may or may not make it. I didn't know that you can actually like if you get good at something and you invest in it, you can make money.
Right.
So I never considered it until I was really advanced as a filmmaker. Like I was way in there. I was doing After Effects, special effects, crazy editing. I had a whole camera set up, a bunch of lights and stuff. And that's when I had a cousin who at the time was working in California City, which is a desert. I didn't know there was a city called California City.
Yeah, me neither.
It's a desert 3 hours inland, right?
Okay.
And he had a spray foam business where they spray foam when a building is still in the infrastructure stages.
Right.
And the foam expands and it's like the perfect insulator. And it was the first job I ever had. He's like, brother, it's a 3-hour drive to get there, 3 hours back. And we're going to film all day because there's certain parts of the process he wants to document.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, I took my stuff, drove, filmed. And at the end of the day, he's like, how much do you want? And I was like, well, it felt so weird. Like, how much do I ask him for?
Right.
And I was like, I thought about it. I was like, I drove 3 hours to get here. Drove 3 hours and I'm going to drive 3 hours back. Mm-hmm. And he wanted like the special effects stuff. So this is going to be weeks of editing.
Yeah.
So I looked at him and I was like, 500? Like it was like a sin. You know what I mean? Like there's no way you would pay that much. Like he's like, just 500?
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like, sure. And he zells me. He didn't even wait for me to deliver. He zells me. And that was $500 that I made in that job.
Wow.
Looking back, I should have charged him like $3,000-4,000.
Okay.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was very nice of him to, because with family,
Yeah.
there's so many common favors.
That's true.
There's so many exchanges.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be like, Leo, just let it go. And then, or like some family members may be rude about it. Just be like, hey, that's too much, or I want it for less. Hook me up.
Yeah.
It was very kind of him to do that. And I had mentioned that when it was years later, I filmed his wedding, and I was one of the people doing the toasts. And I had mentioned that he was the first $500 I ever made in my life. So
that's cool.
Full circle moment for sure.
Yeah.
But that was definitely my first experience. If I had charged before, like, because this was me being like 5 years into the industry, like just working.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just creating films.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know how if I was better at networking in that phase of my life, my current business would be 4 or 5 years ahead than it is right now. If I had just met people and if I met Sergio, Sergio's doing weddings, he's making all this money.
Yeah.
It's possible, Leo, why are you sitting at home and just having fun with the computer? You can do what you love, but make money. That's why right now I'm trying to be ultra aware of networking, because we live in the limitations of what we know. And sometimes, brother, just an idea, just someone saying, I charged $20,000 for a wedding, just them saying that, and they're an honest person, that there's things that you can learn out there that can allow you to provide $20,000 of benefit or value to a wedding couple.
Right.
But if you close yourself off into this little world of yours, you'll always think that $20,000 is unachievable. So I really want to focus on that, and you're good at that. JoJo's good at that. Jack Carlisle, the owner of the Potting Shed, is very good at that. And I'm trying to learn that thing.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that I'm good at it. Here's the thing that I've learned a lot, man. And this is just from watching a lot of motivational speakers and stuff like that. They all say something in common, which is like, okay, in order to grow, you have to do uncomfortable things. And so all these little gems that are very popular out there, they're right, man. Read books and, do the mingle with people and all that stuff. It's like, man, really? Is that really going to get me to $1 million? Like, come on. It helps, man. And reading those books, watching those motivational videos, the speakers, doing things that are uncomfortable, that's like one of my things. Like, people tell me all the time, like, oh, you do well with the mic and, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but if you felt my heart, man, you would see I am freaking out. But it's something that I need to overcome and get comfortable with so that I can get to that next level.
Yes.
And not to get too spiritual, but I used to pray about, God, just give me more money, right? That was like, that's every young person's prayer.
100%.
As I grew up, I stopped praying for money and I started praying for wisdom of how to deal with a lot of money.
Wow.
And that changed the game for me.
Wow.
Because I started asking, how can you give me the knowledge I need to handle $1 million?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Very wise.
So that changed like a lot of the way I was thinking. And I believe he's hearing me out and helping me out with all these things. But when I first started like making good money and all these, and I started doing these big jobs, I would be nervous, right? Because these are big jobs. But then again, my spiritual self goes, I wouldn't be here if he didn't think I was ready. Let's do it. And then we, do our stuff. But yeah, man. So I'm sorry, I went on a little rant on that.
No, I
yeah.
love that you mentioned that, because I have that belief as well. So it was multiple scenarios, but one of them kind of hits the nail on the head with this example. There was a man that I knew who worked so hard throughout his entire life into old age and struck over $1 million, like started making crazy amounts of money when he was really towards the end of his life. He gets filthy rich. He passes away soon after. Who inherits the money? The children.
Right.
I don't know what happened legally, but his oldest son had taken over all the inheritance. And ever since that day, ever since that man's death, that older son is the most hated man in that family. And the children are always fighting over what's theirs. And eventually he lets go of some of the money, what's left of it. He's still hated. And then other people take it and they hate each other now. And an entire family ecosystem was disrupted by money. So as much as some people say poverty is a blessing, or not, just being normal, being middle class is a blessing sometimes, being rich can be a punishment sometimes. God can be punishing or testing a family with money. And when I look at a family like that, if that, first of all, that old age man never used the money that he made.
Yeah.
So he didn't benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how rich you are, brother, if you can't call a brother or a sister and tell them, I just had a baby, I want you to come say hi, or it's my birthday. And if you don't have that dynamic, I think you have priorities in your life that you're not focusing on. Because that connection is very, very, being connected through blood is very, very valuable. And that man didn't enjoy the money, and the family hates each other. They lost the beauty of the blessing of having a family that loves each other and shows up at every occasion and is there for you when you need them, all because of this money. So just like you, I pray that God prepares me, and that's why I love the process of slowly taking things bite by bite.
Yeah.
And I think with social media, we're afraid to announce to the world where we're at right now. Like I was driving a 1998 Honda Civic well through my late 20s, right? Like a $2,000-$3,000 car. The reason was I was investing so much money. Every camera is $4,000 or $5,000. You know the industry.
Yeah.
I was spending so much on my business because I wanted to grow. That sometimes I'll look at social media and I'll see like some young people that are driving some crazy cars, and I'm like, dude, how are they doing it? Am I behind? Am I not doing things right? And then, but I do notice how quickly I'm growing in my job and in my business, and it's because I'm prioritizing that over the things that people see. And eventually the business is going to become what people see. So eventually you're going to have something that was a slow cooked process for you to achieve success. And it's not going to be a punishment from God. It's going to be a success because you chipped at it little by little. You went through all the downfalls and the pitfalls, and you have a very strong foundation in who you are, how you react to pressure, how you react to adversity, and you slowly achieve the success. I want to go through the next question. Okay, so the next question is, what was the grind like? What did you have to sacrifice to get where you are?
Yeah, man.
Oh, you should write a book. This is legendary stuff, to be honest with you. Thank you so much for, I'm going to start writing notes or maybe keep cards for my clients.
Yeah.
Because that really helps.
Okay, cool.
I love it.
Yeah. No, thank you, man. And for me, the grind and the sacrifices that I made, this is the way I see it. Like, I'm up, I've been climbing this long stairway, and every step was hard to get to the next one. And right now I'm 10 years in, so I do have a few steps that I can look back on. And when I look back at them, man, I go, I'm so grateful for my younger self, man, because it was tough to get to where I am right now of all the things that I had to do. And one good example is, again, it goes back to my mentor, Elmer. I would be a sponge to him. Like I got a job just to pay my bills. Literally. No fun, no going out. I had my girlfriend. We would just pay bills. That's it. Because after my shift would be over, I would get in the car and I would go to Long Beach, which is like a 30-minute drive every day. To do photography, I don't know. I just wanted to be next to my mentor, because I knew if I'm next to him, it's that teaching of like, if you're around 5 smokers, you're bound to be the 6th one, right?
Yes.
So I had that mentality. I just want to be around
successful
him.
people. Yeah.
No matter if we talked about photography or not. And so I would work 4 days out of the week. And I, again, very lucky that this job I had, it was my brother's childhood friend that hired me. And he was cool for me to not work on the weekends, especially for a beginner. So he would allow me to just work Monday through Thursday. And because I would go and help and assist my mentor at weddings. So that to me was huge, right? My fiance didn't see me a lot. I would stay late there, go back home, get ready for the next day, go to work, and then again, repeat. And when I first started to do videography, I didn't have clientele. You don't have clientele. How are you going to get clientele? How are you going to show the next couple what you can do? So for 3 couples of my mentors couples, hope that makes sense, I offered them a free highlight film of their wedding. Mind you, I am assisting my mentor. They would agree, right? We were like, all right, yeah, that sounds fun. They didn't have a videographer, so I'll do something for them. I'm carrying his gear because I still have a job to do. And at the same time, I'm carrying my gear to create this wedding film. So, and nowadays, I mean, the gear have shrunk and still kept the power that they have. Whereas back in the day, we used to have a light that we would call Thor's hammer because it would literally look like Thor's hammer. It was that big. And so,
like an HMI or like an RE? What's the?
Oh, it's been a while already. I forget the name of it, but it was, yeah, man, it was big. And he had a Pelican case, which he doesn't carry now. So all the assistants that help him out now, they got it good, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a lot of stuff. His stuff, my stuff. I remember dreading this one wedding because we had to go upstairs from the ceremony to the reception. I had to carry everything. And at the same time, again, I'm trying to film a highlight film for this couple. So I'm trying to get the details. I'm trying to get all the couple session. At the same time, my mentor needs a switch on the lens. So I had to get from his bag and here's the switch and boom, then I'll get my camera and keep recording. And so I had to do those things. And now that I had a small portfolio, 3 different couples, I was able to start kind of pitching to my own clientele. And again, my mentor has all this clientele for me to possibly pitch, but he's such a amazing person that he would be like, Sergio, I can't recommend you to my couples because you're not there yet. And again, the emotion side, personal, business. It motivated me to get there because he shoots and delivers at a high level and my videography wasn't there yet. And so I had to get there. And once I did, it was, again, another game changer for me because now my mentor has all these clients. They're looking for a videographer and now he's able to send them to me and I speak with them. And again, he taught me, oh man, this is flashbacks. I used to practice how to talk to couples in my car alone. Wow. I would practice how to direct them because my mentor would teach me and it's basically the same script. You make it fun on your own, blah, blah, blah. But I would talk to myself. Hey, Sarah, do you prefer a side? Yeah, this side. Okay, perfect. So we're going to put you here. And Matt, you're going to be right next to her. This first pose, guys, is called the standard pose. The standard pose is the most boring pose, but it's the pose that your mom is going to print out. No matter how crazy of a shot we get, creative shot, this pose is the one that gets printed out and puts above the fireplace. Oh, okay, great. All right, cool. You're going to put your hands. That's me alone in my car going from work to home or from work to Long Beach to home. Practice,
so
directing.
When it's time to say it.
So when it's time to say it, it's natural. I can say a joke here and there because now the normal stuff is easy to say. And so, where was I going with that?
What was the question? What was
the sacrifices?
What was the grind like? What did you have to sacrifice to get where you are? Yeah, we're gonna have to wait on this ambulance.
Yeah,
but,
okay, perfect. Perfect little break. Thank you, Jesus, for that.
We were saying that you had, you're working with this mentor,
mm-hmm.
and you started offering things,
mm-hmm.
and then you started practicing directing, and he couldn't recommend you yet because he felt like you weren't there yet.
Right.
And then you started practicing.
Right. I started practicing how to speak to the clients. So now it got to a level of him not having to hold my hand anymore. He could just literally like, hey, here's Sergio's information. Reach out to him and he will talk to you guys. And I'm telling you, Leo, like the level of professionalism that my mentor has, it's like I've seen him be on the freeway, get an inquiry in the email, and him pull over immediately to respond.
Wow.
So I saw all of these habits. Yeah, all this work ethic, all these habits that he expects, that he would expect someone else to, if something happened to him and someone to take over, that they would do the same level of customer service to his clients. And so I started doing that. And I get compliments a lot. And from all these clients are like, oh my God, you guys respond like it's a text message. And it's like, well, yeah, we want to show you that the level of, importance this is. It's a big deal. It's your wedding. And we can't wait on like a day or two to respond to you. Here's our stuff. Here's what we do. And that same level you're going to get throughout the entire process. Not just because you gave me an inquiry and I'm trying to book you. No, after you book me, that's the start of the fun. And then from there, we're just going to give you the same energy all the way throughout. And if you want to keep being friends after, we're going to give you the same energy after too. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you're going to see how dumb we are posting stories and being fun and blah, blah, blah. And we hope that you're proud that you hired us at the end of the day,
Yes.
So yeah, man, like it took so much for me to reach a level. Again, I will constantly chase him, but I know I won't catch up. But I love that process,
Yes, having an ideal to follow is just essential to growing.
Yeah,
and it keeps you humble.
Yeah.
The worst thing is feeling like you've mastered something, and it makes things boring. If you've mastered, it's like a video game,
right?
And you see these, you buy a kid like 5 video games, and he'll throw them all away when he's done because there's no challenge left. He's mastered it. He may even played it more than one time. It's over.
Yeah.
So it's cool to always have that little chase of someone who's better than you at something.
Yeah.
What else we got here? What other goodies we have?
Oh boy.
Imposter syndrome. I'm gonna start with this one.
Okay, please.
So imposters, for those who don't know, imposter syndrome is the feeling that you are a fraud in anything that you're doing. So if you are doing professional basketball and you started off, as a kid playing basketball in your backyard, and suddenly you're getting paid to play basketball professionally, you have this feeling inside of you that you're not what people think you are. You're just this little kid that maybe is okay at basketball, but everyone's for some reason buying tickets to see you and cheering you on. And the NBA is paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they don't actually know that you're not that good. You're not actually a legit basketball player. You just like to play basketball. And we start to tell ourselves certain stories to make us feel like we're not what people expect. We're not what people think. We are a fraud. That's imposter syndrome. And that is such an interesting emotion that we experience. And there's so many different takes on it. There's so many different ways that people deal with it, right?
Sure, yeah.
Some people take it as a motivational thing, which is like, I'm not as good as they say I am. And as an outcome of that, they want to be as good. So they keep working hard.
Right.
So they're on this hamster wheel, right? They just keep working harder and harder and harder, and they get better and better. And then some people, it consumes them. For me, I feel like I fluctuate between those two things. If I'm on a high, I'm growing. Money's abundant. Everyone's happy with my work. Clients are coming in. I start to feel like, okay, maybe I'm not that good, but I know I'm getting better for sure.
Yeah.
I know I'm better than last year.
Right.
And I'm motivated. But every once in a while, when you hit that road bump of like a creative project that you couldn't really connect to the client's vision, and there is always going to be this gap that you didn't understand. Maybe they weren't expressive enough. Maybe you didn't listen enough. But whoever's responsible at the end of the day, it looks like you failed. It looks like you are not as good as people expected you were. When I get hit with one of those things, it'll take me on a little like 2-3 week dip of, am I actually that good? Am I, am I still learning and am I overly confident about my skill set that people are hiring me to do things that I'm not ready for? And this is not an academy. Like, there's no way to gauge your skill set. It's between you and clients, you and the market.
Right.
So yeah, that's my take on it. I personally, I'm good at fighting it when things are okay.
Yeah.
And then when things go down, I go down with it. But I eventually get back up. But the way I'm behaving and the thoughts I have when I'm in that dip are very scary. And I thank God that I have the resilience to recoil from that, because if I didn't, I don't know what I would turn into, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I imagine like, and this is going to sound insane, but I imagine this spiraling into like everyone recognizing that I'm not good at what I do. So get all these contracts dropped, lose all my clients. I can't pay rent. I lose my car. I go home and my brain will go to the furthest extent of that.
Yeah.
And this is maybe too much information, but I want to practice being vulnerable. Sometimes I watch these videos that they interview homeless people on how they get homeless.
Oh.
And a lot of them have crazy stories where they were a successful person just like me and you.
Yeah.
And I will start imagining myself like, damn, am I going to be one of these videos one day? I was a videographer and I was overly confident and I bit off more than I can chew. And I landed this contract with Google. And when it came to delivery, they had paid so much and I invested so much in the project and I couldn't pay them back. And I went bankrupt. And my wife left me. And this is hoping that I'm going to get married eventually, but my wife will leave me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take on imposter syndrome.
That is a big fear, man. And I feel like you're not alone definitely in that, man, which is good, right? Because, sometimes we do feel like we are alone in that space when we get there, that spiraling and, am I going to have rent and this and that? Man, I struggled a lot in that area, man, because I would be like, all right, cool. I have another month of being under a roof. Can I do it again this month? Can I do it again this month? And every month was like that. Can I do it again this month? And you had mentioned that you can go either way. You can go into like motivational or really spiral down. I think if you have a good foundation of people that are there, like that are encouraging you and stuff like that, that helps a lot. At least that helps me a ton. I have friends and my mentor. And my mentor, man, I talk about him a lot because he did like change my life a lot. And so he's the one that's like, Sergio, look, if you're going to shoot for me as a lead, you need to understand something. You're there because I believe you can do it. So you can do it. Go ahead, be a lead, do your thing. If I didn't think you can handle this, I wouldn't put you up in that position.
Which is dope because now you don't have to worry about your belief in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody who you know is legit.
Right.
And they believe in you.
Right.
And that means I'm legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a cool, dude, mentorship is amazing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he's awesome. So yeah, like when he said that to me, that level of confidence kind of like came. I was like, all right, cool. He believes I could do it. All right, let's knock it out. And to this day, I look at that first wedding that I shot for him, and some of my favorite photos came from that wedding. And I'm just like, man, that was crazy. It was so many years ago, and now I'm in that area of challenging myself, trying to be better than the next time and better than the last time. I'm sorry, and so forth, right? But yeah, that imposter syndrome, man, it hits me in a way where it's funny that you mentioned it that way because I never thought about it as using it as motivation, and I'm more in that like it beats me kind of deal, because I am afraid of that. The whole they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out I'm a fraud, man. They're gonna find out when I see my gear sometimes, and I see social media too is what gets me there too because I see these amazing, talented
ridiculous
people,
stuff, bro.
And I'm like, how do they do it?
So legendary.
How am I in this space? You know what I mean? Like against like these people. It's insane.
I think that's something like, how do you hire me when you're seeing this stuff?
Yeah.
Like I see this crazy wedding film, and it's like part of it's in Italy, the other part is in Cuba, and then they spiral down from heaven. And I'm like, okay, you sure you didn't see any of that, guys?
I know, man.
Because if you did, we're not gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, and here we go again. My mentor, he always taught me there's enough pieces to the pie for everybody.
Yes.
You know, and so again, it's those little nuggets that he has engraved in my brain that kind of help me to. Instead of looking at my peers do amazing work and be like, why am I in this space? I now look at it and I go, that's awesome. Hey, that's incredible work. I'm a big fan, blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm a fan instead of being like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't even compete with these people.
Yeah.
And then, there are people that, and I don't want to say this in a wrong way or mean it in a wrong way, that are lower than what you can provide.
Yeah, they're in a previous phase.
Right. And those people I'd love to help because I got that level of help. I want to help somebody, and then you never know. They might, younger people too, they do crazy stuff and they might teach you a thing or two.
100%.
Like, whoa, okay, now I can do this and I can do that. So it's like, just be nice. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. But yeah, man, that imposter syndrome, I deal with it a lot in that way. But my clientele, the Google reviews that I get, like all of those things help me to kind of be like, you know what you're doing. You got this. And just concentrate on being better, maybe. You know, just concentrate on doing something a little bit more creative or whatever facet you feel like you're lacking. How can you improve? And so then your brain kind of removes yourself from this imposter syndrome, and then it kind of goes into a different positive way.
You get corrected.
Yeah.
That's dope, bro. That's a dope insight. I mean, I'm glad that we talked about this
Yeah.
because as many times as you feel like you're okay with it, it's a lonely emotion, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You don't feel like other people feel it.
Right.
Like when I see your work and I'm like, yeah, he probably knows, like he's chilling, he's good.
No, man, even like when we hung out with JoJo and he texted me to come hang out, I'm like, why does he want me there? You know what I mean? Like there's other people that are much more interesting or much just cooler hang. But I gotta remember, like, don't fight what's happening. He's inviting you for a reason. He probably just vibes with you more. And so just go and hang out, you know? But I never feel above anybody. I honestly, and this may be even wrong to think, but I always feel below. And that's probably, again, a therapy thing when I was a child.
Deep therapy,
Yeah, because I'm the youngest of 5. So I'm always trying to be like,
There's
oh,
always
big
a
brother.
dominant,
Right.
yes.
But it's like, nah, you're the little bro. You stay over there. So I think that's something that I carry with me to this day, where like the day that I met you, immediately Leo's here and I'm here. Immediately JoJo's here and I'm here.
Automatically, you put yourself in that.
Automatically, I put myself.
I have to say that I do fall into that category, bro. I do that as well. I'm getting better at it, and I feel like because in my previous career path, I would feel that with everybody because it's scientific. You can calculate how good you are.
Cool.
There's ways to like, oh, you did this much, oh, you didn't do that, so you're not as good. But I feel like because filmmaking is so specific, and we're all, even though we're both doing weddings, we're playing different games. You have a certain game you want to play. There's a certain type of film you want to create. I have a film I want to create. So I've stopped feeling as much of that because I feel like we're all running, like we're going to the same island in the race, but we're not going to the same spot on the island. So we're chilling. Like at the end of the day, my stuff is not as cinematic as other people's stuff, but I personally, my game is connection. I want to try to get words out of people who otherwise would have never spoken.
Yeah.
I love going to that, person that doesn't speak English in the event, whether it be Spanish speaking or they be like, German or Russian or whatever the family's background is. And that one grandpa where I try to get footage of and the family's like, no, just leave him alone. He doesn't speak English. I like to be the guy to be like, oh, give me that little cousin. Are you free? Do you speak German? Do you speak Spanish? Come with me.
Boom,
and let me
challenge.
go ahead and try to get that person talking. And I feel like that's a challenge for me because if I make that happen, and God forbid if it's an older person, like they pass later on or something happens, that would have never happened if I wasn't there.
Exactly.
Because that's my game. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
So even when I do see better work, I still value the stuff that I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But just to set the record straight, you are up here and I'm up here. And that's not my imposter syndrome. That's reality. I've seen your work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If
man.
anything, I'm going to improve because of you, bro. Like you do really good stuff.
And that's the thing about it, man. That's what's cool about it is that I see the same light as you do. I see it the opposite. I look at yours and I'm like, all right, I'm going to improve too for just getting to know Leo. So I'm glad we're like in that same space,
win.
Yeah, exactly. We both win. And it's the kindness of the group that gives me that level of like, okay, we're I'm not saying level as in like our skill set. I'm just like, we're just regular humans and we're just hanging out.
Yes.
This is great.
And I feel like JoJo handpicks that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
You notice like when you go out with them, it's like 10 people, everybody's dope.
Right. And he goes, you would be awesome.
Yeah.
He goes like that. Yeah. Leo, you guys tell stories. You guys are going to be great together.
Yeah. He
just connects people like
and
that.
he's accurate, bro.
So
he's so accurate.
Yeah.
I love that guy, bro. I love the environment he creates. I love his influence, and I feel like he needs to own some sort of a club, like not like a party club, like a place where people can go and chill and forget their challenges in life.
Right.
Like the cigar night he does every once in a while, bro. Like everyone's a vibe, everyone's chilling, egos go out the window. It's the exact opposite of what you experience when you go to LA. Like if you go to like a house party in LA, it's like, oh, who's better than who knows who's more followers, who's making more money, and it's just this competition. And everyone's acting like they're bigger than they are. And then with JoJo's group, it's like, hey, what do you do? Hey, I love your stuff. What do you do?
Again, man, I don't want to take it into a spiritual thing, but when I met all of you guys, I'm like, as you guys are talking and hanging out, the reason God is putting us together, man.
100%.
Like there's something, we need to do something, we need to open something, and it's going to come out amazing. Because the thing that I love about JoJo too is his passion for what he does is insane. Because you look at what he does, and I look at what he does, and I'm like, how do you organize all of this? How do you put it together in your brain? But then I go, this isn't my field. I shouldn't dwell on how he does it. He just loves doing it, and he does it well, you know?
Yes.
And so yeah, when we're all hanging out, in the back of my head, I'm like, dude, we're going to create something, and hopefully it happens somehow, but in God's timing,
it will,
it's going to be amazing.
I already see this being the first episode of this podcast and how well the ideas bounce off. I think we could co-host stuff. So you bring guests, I bring guests. I think we can just turn it into a thing where we both talk, because I feel like we have different energies and we complement each other.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes I'm like too fast and aggressive, but you're more wise and you approach things more carefully. Maybe that would be a better way to open a variety of people up.
That'd be awesome.
I got your word?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got my word for sure. Yeah.
I love it. And something came to my mind as well. You just said the word dwelling on what someone else is doing. I had that problem, brother. So I like to see the good side of things. I like to see, if I see a heap of like chaos, I want to see that little flower in the center. And I've trained myself to do that throughout my life.
Okay.
Always trying to see the more beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because I believe in perspective.
Yeah.
And as filmmakers or photographers, what you put in your frame is what creates the emotion. So you have a clear control over that with a camera. You also have a control over that in the way you see reality, but it's not clear to you.
Right.
You don't realize why you live in a black and white world. It's because you're looking at the black and white things the whole time. So I've been training myself to see the beauty in things. But there's a downside to that. Is when I see other people's lives, other people's work, other people's relationships, I'm seeing the best of those things. I show myself the best of those things. And I do it so much that I find myself dwelling on their lives. And I forget my life in the process.
Yeah.
And then I look back at like where I was and where these people were. And then I realized that in the past 6 months, I've been dwelling on so many other people's lives and praising their lives. And in the back of my head, not to them personally, but to them personally when I see them, but like it sits in my subconscious. Like, oh, he has such a nice car. How did he afford that? Or his business is growing so fast, or he's so good at talking to people and getting things. Like so good at closing deals. I have a little bit of that, a little bit of all those superpowers. I have them in me myself, but because I was looking at everybody else this whole time, I neglected my work and my practice and my focusing on my skill sets, that they atrophied. They became weaker, and nobody won, because they're not getting better because I'm dwelling over their lives, and I'm just getting weaker. And it's a psychological like spiral. So that's it. It's an interesting problem to have, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm looking at the better things, but the problem is when you do that in other people's lives, it can take you into a weird hole.
Yeah. And I think that's why, like, God, please don't hate me, but I just keep bringing back my mentor, man. He befriends even the waiters at a wedding. Like right now we have an assistant that came from being a waiter at a venue that we work at. And sometimes, like how you say, like when we get looked at sometimes as like lower than some people's, like sometimes we don't even get fed. And it's like, they look at you like, oh, you're the, and then when someone was telling me that, I was like, I wonder how the waiters feel, because they're the ones serving like the people and everything. And so I started also being extra friendly with the waiters. Funny thing, when you become extra friendly with waiters, they give you more appetizers.
They hook you up, bro. They hook you up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They give you like perks you didn't know existed.
Exactly, dude. And so here they bring out colder ice. Like that's just
it's more frozen.
Yeah, it's more frozen. Exactly. But yeah, and so he doesn't look at himself in such a light. Like I look at him in a big light. I see what he has, but instead of me like dwelling and feeling down, I go more like, I want to reach that. How do I get that? He's giving me a blueprint. Like, okay, now follow this blueprint and you'll get what he has, And I always say, I've almost got everything, but the muscles, because he's pretty buff.
He works out?
Oh, dude.
Oh, bro, now he's my superhero.
Okay, I'm telling you, man. Don't let him take his shirt off right here, dude. So
that's what I want to have. The thing is, every time I go for the fitness thing, I have to drop everything else.
Oh.
And when I get everything else, I have to drop the fitness thing. So this guy
hard
is my
balance.
superhero. If you can have both, dude,
Yeah.
and like be hustling max, but at the same time you're ripped. Oh my
Ripped.
God. You think he'll come on the podcast?
I believe he will, man. 100%.
Please invite him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, let's sit down and pick his brain, bro. That would be dope.
No, he loves to connect with people. He loves to, you know, tell his story and stuff, but he's very humbling. So this is going to be good for you. You're going to have to pull that stuff out of him. You know what I mean? Like if he could hide his muscles, he would.
He would. He's that type of person.
He's that type of person. Very humble, very kind, very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it's time to get to work, that's the one thing he doesn't mess around with, man. Like work is...
He's on it.
He's on it, man. If the wedding venue that we're going to shoot is an hour away, he'll leave 2.5 hours before just to make sure if something happens,
he's good.
He's good. So he's great. So, sidetracked. Where did we go?
Your mentor, he's very humble. He's ripped. You feel like you're focusing on his life, but
yeah, that's what I was saying. I pretty much have like gotten everything that he's had, but I always say the muscles is probably going to take a lot longer, you know, to get there. Yeah, it's going to take a lot longer to get there. Yes. But it's because again, like I just followed a blueprint that he gave me and he gives us as a team. You know, we have a pretty big team now and we all have the same blueprint. And then from there, it's up to you. How far do you want to go? He always says that. I will push you to however far you want to reach. Yeah. And he's like, look at Sergio, man. He came from, you know, working at O'Reilly and now he's as busy as I am, you know? Wow. And it's because I will forever try to reach his level, but I know I won't, but that's the fun of it. And so yeah, man, when it comes to like, you know, just being in that humble space, he's taught me a lot to do that. And when we are at venues or not to dwell on people's lives because they're so like grand, if anything, I am so just in awe of like, dude, how'd you get here? Oh, that's cool. It's like a motivational thing, you know? Yeah, for me, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let me see if anything else was written here. If you can go back, what would you tell your younger self?
So funny, man. When I wrote that down, I had an answer. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I do remember my answer because I just thought about it right now. If I can go back to my younger self, man, I would genuinely say thank you. Because I wouldn't change anything. It was a struggle. There were hard times of, you know, carrying a lot of gear, sweating. It was hot, whatever the case may be. All those practicing, talking to yourself and doing all that grind that I did. I look back at it and again, it's like they tell you all the time, do what your future self is going to be grateful for. Do it now. Do that now, you know?
Yes.
And so that if I can go back, I wouldn't tell him to change anything. I would just, and I don't even know if that sounds arrogant, but I just would like to say thank you to him. Like, hey, dude, thank you for all the struggle you're going to go through to get to where I am right now. Trust me, it'll be worth it. You know, would it, if maybe I would have made a left instead of a right, would it be more abundant? Who knows? But all I know right now, I'm happy.
Love that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Love that.
And if I go deeper, obviously, I went through some health stuff. Maybe that's something that I would tell him. Business wise, thank you. Health wise, get your shit together.
Focus.
Yeah, focus on your health a lot more than what you think. Yeah, because it was a rough like 2.5 years, and it was a crazy journey. But that's, you know, for another podcast. But yeah, man, health wise, I would tell him, you know, get your shit together, stay consistent, don't lose it, and just reach the goal that you're, you know, going for. But business wise, I think we done pretty well, and I still have that hunger in me to like continue to get better, or whatever the case may be. As long as I'm here and I'm able and I'm healthy and I'm enjoying, you know, my craft. And when I go to gigs, I'm excited to be there and the time just flies. That's great. You know, there's a joke, you know, Chris Rock, comedian. Love Chris Rock. There's a joke that he said about him scrubbing shrimp off of when he was washing dishes. And he would talk about how like he would scrub, and the bit goes for him scrubbing a lot. And we're like, all right, it's 6 o'clock. All right, cool. Scrub. And again, the joke goes for long. He looks back at the clock, 6:02. And he scrubs so long, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that I've been there where I worked at a job where it's like
it was never ending.
Every minute. It was so long. Yeah. And now I go to shoot an 8-hour wedding, and the moment that I get out of the car, it feels like I'm going back in and going home.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So smooth.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I love what I do.
Very well said, bro. You're really good at thankfulness and gratitude.
Thank you, man.
And I'm working on that myself. I think for me, brother, I would tell myself that I don't have to make sense. And I know that's like cliche, but I thought that my inner desire for what I thought was successful was an amateur or childish attempt in life. You shouldn't be wanting these things. Why would you care so much about being creative? Who cares if you pursue something creatively? I feel like I'm gifted creatively, but does it matter? Should I still pursue it? And everyone around me was pushing me in the direction of neglecting everything I was to pursue something else that was good. It was a positive reinforcement from them. They were doing something good, but that wasn't my calling. That wasn't what I am designed to do, right? And the misery you experience when you find yourself achieving what looks like success, but you're miserable, it's a very lonely misery. It's like somebody crying in their Lamborghini, right? The majority of people are looking at him like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what could be that bad in your life?
Right.
You know what I mean? But he might have something going on that nobody else can experience. And it's a very lonely place to be, because on the outward, you look like you're very successful and you should be celebrating your success, but you're actually crying on the inside.
Right.
And for me, ever since I was a kid, brother, I love creating things. Like the studio, I believe, is just the older version of who Leo was as a child. I would just be passionate about something and I would just keep building. I once got into like raising pets and like little chicks and ducks and stuff.
Wow.
And in a matter of weeks, I had a whole like little farm system built, and like lights I would turn on, and I ran like a 50-foot cord to my room, to the backyard.
Yeah.
And I would turn on the lights for them and turn off the lights for them. And I had a little swimming pond for the ducks. Like, I would build things. I would invest a lot into things I was passionate about, and they would grow in a way where people would be like, who made this? Like, why is this here? It was like, we used to live like in a really nice neighborhood, and there's this whole like contraption for chicks and ducklets and a little like carnival place for them to play.
Yeah.
And everyone would drive by like, why is this here? It looked like someone older created it.
Wow.
And that was just me like creating things, right?
Yeah.
I was always inspired by movies like Home Alone, where you know, he's in a threatful situation. He's in a dangerous situation. He's facing a threat.
Right.
And he uses his creativity to get out of it. I always love that idea of like, I'm going to tinker around and find a solution, and they're going to come in through here and this is going to happen. But in approaching life, where I'm going to use my intelligence to create things that will solve my problems.
Yeah.
Whether the problems be financial, emotional, social, I want to find creative solutions to fix them.
Yeah.
And in my previous career path, that stuff died. There was no creativity in that world. You're not celebrated for being creative. You're celebrated for following the book as hard as you can. And any deviation from that is not good. In the world that I'm in, it's like there are no rules. Like, I want to make a podcast studio because I love facilitating. Like, I love these conversations that we have. Our conversations are already so meaningful, but the moment there's a camera and there's a space that's isolated acoustically, and there's we've carved out time to be here, and there's microphones, it brings out a different form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
It brings out a level of connection that I don't think would happen in a normal dinner. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that was my goal. Is I've done this for so many different clients. I've provided the space for them, that I want to make this a thing that I could provide regularly, in a more convenient way, in a more exciting way, in a more fun way. I want it never to be a burden. I want people to come in here excited. They can make coffee. They can drink some water. They can, they can, if they stay long enough, they can see their work being edited. So yeah, that was.
This is your pond, and we're just your ducklings. Bro.
You're my duckling.
Yeah, we're just your ducklings, bro. This is great. You're inspiring, dude. This is awesome. Thank you
so much, bro. Yeah, this really feels like this is me. Like, if I'm looking at myself from another person's point of view, I would expect that Leo to create this when he grows up. It makes sense for me. It comes naturally.
Yeah.
So,
but here's the thing that I love about you, though, man. You still created this. You created the pond, right? You created this awesome space. But then you get people like us to come in and you still ask for opinion and you're so open to ideas. And that's something to me, again, that's like really just like humbling. It's like, oh, I was telling my fiance, I'm like, he built this incredible space and he's still asking us if this looks awesome or what do we think would make it better. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's already incredible. I don't know what else he needs. I feel like I need to say something just to sound smart, you know? And
well, thank you so much,
yeah,
bro.
Of course, man.
I
This is awesome. Yeah.
No, man, I always, I appreciate an artistic eye. And I know enough about visual art to know that there's no end to experience.
Yeah,
if you create the perfect frame, you frame a shot perfectly.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone with 3 more years of experience that's going to be like, you should have added a light right there. And when you do it, you're like, oh my God, that looks like a constellation in space. How did you do that?
Right.
So I always believe in the eye specifically is far more advanced than book knowledge.
Yeah.
Book knowledge, many different people could have all the knowledge. They know everything. So they're bouncing off the same ideas to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to your eye, it's a much deeper level of experience. It's a much more unique understanding of visual reality. And every one of us has a specific way of designing something that looks good to them. Yeah. That's why when someone like you walks in, I'm like, bro, honestly, like really, and I still mean this, like if you ever feel like me looking right here, I feel like I need to move that because it's a little too much visually and it takes my eye, and I don't like things that take you.
Take you away, yeah.
Yeah, but I always want to explore other people's visions because I know there's going to be something I haven't seen. And I think now that you'll be coming along this journey, I think you're going to, over time, like, Leo, yeah, that thing has to go, or this thing has to go, or the lighting was a little too much. Right now, I do feel like these lights, because it's 2 layers of diffusion, and the inner layer is just a disc. I don't know if you see it, but on the outer rim, it's a little harsh. And I feel like that.
Oh, yes.
Versus the inner circle.
Right. Yeah, I see it.
So I feel like I need to get another layer of diffusion just because that might bother somebody if they're doing like multiple episodes back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's why I'm called Visuals by Leo. I am really a pursuer of visual experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
I am captivated by this world of, you can tell a story by arranging things in front of a camera. By putting people in certain places, you can say who's dominant and who's being used.
Yeah.
You can tell that these 2 people are in love because of this particular positioning of them in a landscape.
Yeah.
That always fascinated me because there's really no book to teach you that stuff. You just you feel it, you learn it.
Yeah.
And once you put it together, it's universal. A kid understands it. A kid can watch a movie and be impacted by the emotions, even though they barely have any experience in life. The visual system in our brain is far more complicated than we might ever imagine.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have an opportunity to co-author what someone else sees and feed them an emotion or an experience, I think is insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable. And getting into this field, I started believing more in other types of visual art. Like my first time ever hiring an interior designer was the studio.
Ooh.
Her name is Sophia Viona. I have to link her. I haven't shouted her out yet. Amazing young interior designer. She laid this whole place out on paper, and she chose the furniture, and she chose the rug and how everything's going to come together, and she guided me through the whole process. But like, if I didn't appreciate my serving people with visual art, I wouldn't have thought of like, maybe someone out there has a better eye than me and does this for a living, and I can hire them to see this through.
Yeah.
And she nailed it on the head.
She didn't.
I was thinking like, here and there, and then this is going to be an empty wall. Like I had so many different Frankenstein ideas of what this could have looked like, but she definitely put it all together.
Yeah,
so
looks great.
Thank you so much, bro.
The one thing that's like just popping in my head before we leave is for some reason I just like, you know what? Maybe after we finish the podcast, I'd like to recommend something for all the people that do cinema. I'm a big movie guy. I love watching movies. I can watch so many at a time. And if you're interested in cinema, what we do, a great movie, and I hope you watched it. It's called The Fabelmans.
The Fabelmans.
Yes. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's kind of based on his story and how he became a director as like from when he was a kid. And man, like all the special effects that he did and to make, a movie is incredible. But towards the end of the movie, it's like some big major director kind of tells him like, you want to know what's interesting? And he kind of shows him very quick, like how a camera works. And this angle is interesting. This angle is interesting, and he was very rough on him, but he was trying to tell him like, being like just straight on, anybody can do that. Your
Wow.
uncle can do that, you know?
Wow.
So it was while you were saying those things like that, I just thought of The Fablemans. I'm like, hey, that's a good movie that if you want to go check out. Like,
I'll check it out.
Yeah, The Fablemans. It's good.
Check it out. Well, my brother, I can't thank you enough for being here. I'm
Appreciate
very
it, man.
excited because we're both local and like we're vibing. I don't know what's gonna happen, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what God has planned.
Me neither.
But I
I'm
know it's
excited.
gonna be
I'm here
dope.
for it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Of course, brother. Thank you.
I'm gonna try to invite you to the next episode if you're available for that. And if not, there's gonna be so many more.
I'm here for it, man. I'm only 11 minutes away.
Appreciate you, brother.
Let's do it.